when you see them, you see him, you see me. Say, bros, I think they make the spot. Man, the spot. You make the city by myself. Go deep, go deep, go deep, go deep, go deep. Bahaya bahasa Indonesia, bawa pakai me and me and me and me and me. I say it even when you see me by myself. Go deep, go deep, go deep, go deep, go deep. Bahaya bahasa Indonesia, bawa pakai is all we need, all we need, all we need, all we need.
Deuteronomy chapter 28. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Meditation of our heart, be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. So we give all glory and praise to our higher Shara, this Shire and the Holy Spirit on this feast of dedication. Peace on the 12 tribes of the state of blood, 4 corners of the earth, and shalom to those of the lineage of Israel. But those who keep the law, statutes, and commandments according to Isaiah 44:5. Feast of dedication. First thing we're going to talk about is what it is not. It's very interesting in that song. And a lot of Israelites make this mistake by calling it the Feast of Lights. It's not the Feast of Lights. You're going to see where they get that from. So sometimes you got to be very careful on what you listen to, because they may not know it. They're following these elders who are out of their minds and who don't know anything and who won't study. So just because groups call it the Feast of Lights does not mean that it's the Feast of Lights. It is dedication, but we're going to see where they got that term from, the Feast of Lights. We're going to see where they got that from. And it's up to you whether you want to continue to listen to that or not. But where they got the Feast of Lights from, I can guarantee you, if you have any inkling for Yeshua, you don't want to be listening and doing that. First of all, let's understand what it is not, what the Feast of Dedication is not. And it is correct, it's not Hanukkah. But it's not a few things that a lot of elders and a lot of Israelites teach. We're going to break this down. All right, so we're going to understand what the Feast of Dedication is not. And number one, it is definitely not Hanukkah. The Feast of the festival is in the Apocrypha. It tells us in the Apocrypha, but also it gives us some information in the book of Daniel about the Feast of Dedication. And yes, the dedication was when we took back the temple at Jerusalem, and the Maccabees led it. Matthias Maccabee started it, and technically Jonathan didn't end it because Jonathan got killed in the midst of them taking back the temple. It wasn't, I believe it was Simon, or yeah, it was Simon. It wasn't Judas, because Judas got killed also. It wasn't until later on. So there's another one. Jonathan did not, he was in the fight, but Jonathan wasn't, he was dead when the temple was taken over. Finally, when we took back the temple. There were instances where we got the temple, and then Antiochus came in, and then we got the temple, and it was going up backward and forth, and it wasn't solidified until we took it back permanently from the wicked Greek king. We all know the story that he desecrated the temple, and he desecrated on December 25th, 163 BCE. That's when he desecrated the temple, had the pigs, and had a statue of Zeus brought in. So we all know that already. Judah was the leader of the Maccabees, and they started to get the temple, recapturing it, restoring the temple. It's obvious. But let's look at something when it comes to Hanukkah, Christmas, and dedication, because it's way too similar, as we have said before. It's way too similar when it comes to these festivals. First of all, they occurred during the same time of year, around the winter solstice. If you know anything, the winter solstice is not really a time where you want to be celebrating stuff. The Greeks, the Romans, and in fact, going back to mankind, all nations who celebrated the sun, during the winter solstice, they started doing things because they thought that the sun was losing strength. So they would do things to try to get the sun to be strong again. That's what the winter solstice is about. And you have certain holidays around the solstice. You also have certain holidays that go through the 8-day span. Kwanzaa, never mind, we're not going to get into that. They use lights as a major theme when it comes to these pagan holidays. They give gifts. Now, we know we don't give gifts on dedication, but they give gifts as part of their celebration. Judah, Maccabee, and Santa are supposedly heroes when it comes to these pagan holidays. They both symbolize the rebirth of the sun, S-U-N. not S-O-N. And they recur around the winter festival. So it's not common, but the account of the flame that stood for 8 days, and you have this menorah, that's also incorrect. There's not one scripture in the Bible that talks about a menorah. So where did they get that from? It's not even mentioned in the Apocrypha. If you look through the Apocrypha, the account that a flame burned for 8 days on oil sufficient for only 24 hours, it's not mentioned. So where did they get this from? The book of Josephus says that it was first referred to Hanukkah as, guess what? The Feast of Lights. That's where they got it. That's where it started. But it started, we're going to find out something. He also said that Hanukkah it's completely different in character when the Shia came. And it wasn't until 200 AD, 400 years after the fact, that the Jewish writings, and it's called in the Gemara, and in the Gemara, it gives you the origin of the lights and why Hanukkah was transformed into the Feast of Lights. The Gemara, in case you're wondering, it's a component of the Talmud. Like they have the Talmud, like we have the Bible and we have the Apocrypha. The Jewish people have the Talmud and they have the Gemara. Kind of like that. So you're going to call something that was pulled out of something that came from the Talmud, which we all know and understand the Talmud is not even good for toilet paper.
That's right.
So why is it called the Feast of Lights? And Israelites make that mistake. They make that error because they don't research anything. If one group says it's the Feast of Lights, oh, that sounds nice. But then they come with these weird doctrines that aren't in the Apocrypha at all to justify it. So you gotta be careful.
Well, to take it a step further, how it came about with December 25th currently, I forgot the guy's name that started because December 25th was not celebrated by him. So he started putting up lights first before the Christmas tree. I learned that in Christianity. I had a Christianity class. And he started, the gift giving was about, but they had like, you know how you go to like downtown Chicago and they had the Christmas tree with the lights. They just had lights at first, they didn't have the tree. Then it started progressing. So that's how the lights came about with, I guess, current day and age. That's what the lights, some guy, I forgot his name, started. I used to know it. It was like 2010.
Right.
Name.
No, that's the Christmas.
Yeah.
This is Hanukkah.
Right. I was talking about the lights.
The lights, right.
Lights.
So the story suggests that a small container of oil was enough for only one day, miraculously continued to burn for 8 days, thus bringing the prominence of lights into the feast. Now we know the Shia can do all things. And the Shia can make a small thing of oil last for 8 days, but let's stick to the facts. Let's not go down the rabbit hole and start, having, fairy tales that are being said. Let's get more on this Feast of Lights. The Jewish historian Chaim Schwartz, in his book, The Jewish Festivals, he writes this, quote, "The very fact that legends were created in an effort to connect the festival of Hanukkah with the lights arouses suspicion. Had this connection existed from the beginning of time, that Hanukkah became a festival, there would have been no need to invent tales about them. All these facts call for explanations and in accordance with what we know of the customs, there can be but one explanation, that the Hanukkah lights originally had nothing to do with dedication. Why the Hanukkah lights began to play an important role in the generation before the destruction of the Second Temple, we cannot be sure. And go. This is coming from one of their people. So he's telling you right off the bat, Hanukkah and dedication has nothing to do with each other. The Feast of Lights and dedication has nothing to do with each other. It's totally separate. Nothing to do with each other. Before the destruction of the Second Temple, during the time of the domination of Rome, there was a lot of pagan influences. History backs this up, not my emotions on how I feel. So that's not what we do. We don't go off of emotions, because that will lead you into damnation.
That's right.
Similarities. Number one, the similarities are too numerous to overlook as coincidences. Oh, it's just a coincidence that we're using lights, when in fact there's nothing ancient about using lights. All the lights came from custom other than Hanukkah, other than dedication. The cover-up story was invented to validate the lights 400 years after the fact. Schwartz and Josephus do not call it cloaking. They speak around it using words like suspicious, tales, connecting legends, assuming characters. But let's go a little further. The two Babylons. This is why reading is important. You gotta read, because you get these songs and you get people singing and they have no clue on what they're saying. And I'm not saying it's because they're ignorant. I'm saying it's because these elders do not teach. They don't teach. They don't take the time to say, wait a minute. They don't take the time to question things. They just go with it. We don't just go with anything. It says in the two Babylons, now not forgetting that Israel was controlled by the Roman emperor. One of the actual sources of the Feast of Lights can be traced back to pagan Rome, possibly before the event of Hanukkah ever occurred in the Apocrypha. That's from the two Babylons. That was before Hanukkah was even invented. And we know that Hanukkah did not come during the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire came first. And a lot of the things of the Roman Empire. The Talmud was not written before the Roman Empire. The Gemara definitely was not written during the Roman Empire. Also in the two Babylons, it says, and in addition to the sun god lighting the 8 planets, that's the menorah. Menorah has 8 candles on it. There was another winter festival practiced by the Roman followers of the goddess called Ceres, the mother of Prosperinea. We all know the Ceres is the goddess of what? Cereal. Produce. Right? You see this? The lighting of 8 planets. So what do you do when you Israelites put your little menorah? You got 8 candles that you got to light. What are you doing? Are you following the Bible, or are you following pagan Rome idolatry?
That's why I never got one.
Honoring the rededication of the temple of the temple is a good thing. But it appears that somebody mixed Hanukkah up into it. Somebody mixed the Feast of Lights into it. They blended it. Even Jewish historians talk about the truth when it comes to Hanukkah as just another part of pagan idolatry. Another part of pagan idolatry. And so I like to observe the dedication. Number one, you can observe it if you want it or not. Because it's not in Leviticus the 23rd chapter. Those that are in Leviticus 23, you better honor. Purim and dedication are wonderful add-ins. Period. Dedication, Purim has nothing to do with salvation. Has nothing to do with end times. Has nothing to do with your walk with the Lord. So it's optional. It's a good option because there were some really good things that happened with us taking back the temple, but it's not in Leviticus 23rd chapter.
A lot of times as well, you have, like, you know, how you do fast food, you have to be careful because I know for a fact Sonic does the, they also say, the who?
Winter solstice.
Winter solstice.
Yeah, and they have like deals and things on their food, Sonic does, so you gotta be careful that you're not participating in that as well.
Right. That's got to be mindful. You, like I said, I heard the song, and when they said lights, I was like, oh. I didn't even know it said that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And all the times that we've heard that little ditty of a song, I've never heard that before. Yes, a ditty is a song. Anyway, a ditty is a part of a song. I'm not talking about.
We know.
All right. So let's practice from the beginning. How do you observe the feast of dedication? It's a holy day. It's kept on the Sabbath, the 9th month. Observe with joy and happiness. You can cook on the first day. You can cook on the last day. No gift giving. No gift giving. It is not a substitute for Christmas. When the Medes and the Persians, when they overthrew Babylon, Cyrus issued an edict in 538 BCE. Oh, I'm sorry, BC, not BC. BC. Excuse me. Allowing Judah, Benjamin, and Levi to return and build the temple. As we already know from Ezra the first chapter, only 50,000 of our people went back to Babylon. Went back to Jerusalem. Some people, they like Babylon. They adopted the Babylon religion. They adopted the ways and the culture. This is going to play very important for what we're going to talk about later. Let's open it up with John, the 10th chapter, verses 22 and 23. John chapter 10, 22 and 23. Let's read.
John chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem the feast.
Let's hold. You sound like you're far away from me.
That's the meat of God.
Yeah, you sound far away. I'll get this while y'all move. John 10, 22. And it was at Jerusalem the feast of dedication, and it was winter. And Yeshua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. So John indicates, first of all, says that the winter, it was on the east side of the temple, because on the east side of the temple, they kind of sheltered the wind and everything. So that's why Yeshua was walking on that side. All right, so then clearly says that Yeshua was around during the Feast of Dedication, which means that the Feast of Dedication happened before Yeshua.
You all need to move in the room, because y'all not understanding. Move up.
So why the Maccabees aren't in the Bible? So all the questions about this feast, we need to examine Daniel 8, where it started. So we're going to be in Daniel 8, and we're going to be in the Apocrypha in the first, second Maccabees.
Why you can't move up first?
I'm on the heating thing.
That's okay. That's not important right now. You need to be in the room where the mics are. You need to be up where we can hear you. Because you sound like you're reading back over in there.
All right, we're gonna go to Daniel 8:8. Right, let's read it.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
All right, so we already know, we talked on this before, that the he-goat is Alexander, and the four notable ones are Cassander, Lycasimus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Those will be the four notable ones for the four generals. Cassander took over Macedonia, which we talked. Macedonia. Lycasimus took over Thrace in Asia Minor, which is modern day Turkey. Seleucus took over Syria, which included Israel, and Ptolemy, Egypt. Let's read verse 9.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
All right, so out of Seculus came forth his son Antiochus, who became great and extended the kingdom to Egypt. Antiochus Epiphanes was a secular king, and he reigned from 175 BC to 164 BC. And we all know Antiochus was brutal, very brutal against Hebrews. Well, he was brutal against everybody. But in reading the Josephus, yes, he was brutal against everybody, but he made league with certain countries that he was not so brutal with. And we know that because of his brutality, it brought forth what is called the Maccabean revolt. Antiochus went to invade Jerusalem. He defiled the temple, put an image of Zeus in the temple, offered pigs on the altar, and eventually we recaptured Jerusalem and went about this cleansing of the temple. Right? So we're going to go over to Daniel 11:5. Okay, Daniel 11:5, and let's read that.
Daniel chapter 11, verse 5. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
His dominion shall be a great dominion. All right, let's go to the first Maccabees 1:16. So we're doing a very condensed version of the Feast of Dedication. First Maccabees 1:16. All right, let's read that.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of two realms.
Right. So Antiochus thought he wanted to have Egypt and he wanted to have Syria. Bible says two realms. What about these two realms? One of these realms is Israel. The other one, of course, is Egypt. So that's what he wanted. All right, let's go over to First Maccabees chapter 6. We're going to read verses 1 through 4. First Maccabees, chapter 6. We're going to read verses 1 through 4. The dedication. Let's read that.
First Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
About that time, King Antiochus, traveling through the high countries, heard say that Elymaeus in the country of Persia was a city greatly renowned for riches, silver and gold.
Riches, silver, and gold. See, a lot of people, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter who you follow. If you had a temple back in those days, it was laid out. Laid out. Right there for the taking. 2.
And that there was in it a very rich temple, wherein were coverings of gold and breastplates and shields, which Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians, had left there.
No, Alexander gets a lot of flack because of his interest in boys. But let's understand something when it came to Alexander. He was probably, unequivocally, the greatest military leader that lived. Really. The exploits of Alexander, when you read about them, outside of the stuff that he did, sexual-wise, but outside of that, man. And it's true, he conquered the known world at that time in record time. There was no one who did it. The Romans could not have done what he did. Also, he was what you would call a connoisseur of art. So when he would conquer lands, he wouldn't pillage them. If they had temples with gold, silver, he would leave it. He would not pillage them like others did. He would just leave it. His main thing was making sure that the entire known world was Hellenistic. That was his main thing. And also what he did is that he allowed the nations that he conquered to continue to follow whatever traditions that they followed. And that's interesting also because in the book of Josephus, it says that he was gracious. Yes, he was a killer. He was a military leader. There's not one military leader that was not a killer. Not one. If you go back in time, and even to current day, there's not one military leader who was not a, let's say, killer. But Alexander was a little different. He didn't go around tearing up stuff, pillaging stuff. He didn't go around gathering all the gold and silver that he can. But just like all of us, there's always this little dark side that's in people. And there was a big dark side in him. All right? So, the temple was very rich, full of gold and breastplates and shields. Verse 3.
Wherefore he came and sought to take the city and to spoil it, but he was not able, because they of the city, having had warning thereof, rose up against him in battle. So he fled and departed thence with great heaviness and returned to Babylon.
Then he looked at the sites towards Israel. Let's go back over to Daniel, the 8th chapter, and we're going to read verse 10. Daniel 8, we're reading verse 10. Let's read that.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them.
Right, that's Antiochus and what he did to us. Right? The host of heaven is Israel. And if we go over to Exodus 12 and 41, it'll tell you the host of heaven is Israel. When it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the host of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. So the host of heaven is Israel. So Antiochus cast many people down to the ground in war and stomped them. How did he do that? He did not was stomping them like he was stepping on them, but he was indoctrinating him with his philosophies. That's what he was doing. How was he doing that? 8 and 11, read that.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
Right. So Antiochus declared himself to be Lord over all, ended the daily sacrifice, ended the sanctuary cast down, defiled the temple itself. We're going to go over to 1 Maccabees chapter 1, reading verses 44 to 47. One thing I am going to say is that if you don't know history, you're bound to screw your life up. History always repeats itself. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. History always repeats itself. So this piece of history is going to repeat itself. It is going to happen again. So if you're a person who doesn't like history, it bangs your existence to try to get an understanding of history, or you just feel it's just flat out boring, you got a problem, a big problem, because history is always going to repeat itself. So if you know history and you know the signs, just like Yeshaya said, if you understand the signs of the times, and he's not talking weather, then you're going to understand and see certain elements that are happening in the earth happened 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. It's going to happen again. How many countries do you know off the top of your head had civil wars? Just off the top of your head. You should know one for sure. Maybe, but how many? That's our question. How many do you think, off the top of your head, there was a civil war? 8, can you name them? U.S. French Revolution. Korea, no. Korea kind of separated. Yeah, Korea separated themselves. Poland,
Russia,
no, Poland and Russia are 2 different countries. That was when Russia tried to bring communism into Poland. They started to have communism, but then, what's his name? That's getting off topic. Anybody else?
Germany.
Who?
Germany.
Germany did not have a civil war. Africa did not have a civil war.
I'm sorry.
Germany didn't have a civil war because Germany was actually split because of the world. No, man, that's not civil war. Germany actually split because of World War II. So in order to make sure that Germany did not do what they were supposed to do, they split Germany into actually split into 4. But then the wall came tumbling down in the 80s, and now that's all done with because we got a new Germany, and we're not going to get to that. With Africa, no, the Hutus and the Hutus or whatever, no, that's not civil war. Those are dictators. I mean, actual civil war. Nobody said United States. Wow.
Oh, she did.
You did? Civil War.
Oh my goodness, they did because we drove by it.
Who?
Remember, we were driving somewhere and it was the space where it says,
Yeah.
where the Civil War happened.
Oh, yeah, it was in New York.
Yeah, New York, it's not too far from here. We drove.
There was a battle in New York.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of civil wars that happen. And I don't even know why I was doing civil war. Let's go. First Maccabees chapter 1, verses 44 to 47.
She said Captain America, Iron Man.
Let's read it.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
No, I know why I brought that up. Because it's going to repeat itself. That's why. History is going to repeat itself. You're going to get someone who's going to say, you can't do this, you can't do that. History is going to repeat itself. Verse 45.
And for
First of all, we're precepting up with Daniel 8 and 11, because Daniel 8 and 11 says that the daily sacrifice will be taken away, and the place of his sanctuary shall be cast down. So we're reading that right now, verse 45.
and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
See, they should read the book of Daniel. That's what it told them what was going to happen. 46.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Yeah, so that is what Antiochus did. Correct. Go back over to Daniel 8, we're reading verse 12.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 12. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Oh, who practiced and prospered? Who did that? So the host was given to Antiochus, were disobedient Israelites. That's who practiced and prospered. Who rebelled against Yeshua's laws of sacrifice by doing their own desire and their own sin, and to throw away the truth. Those were the ones who practiced it, and they prospered from it. Believe it or not, all of Israel were not together at this point. Believe it or not, there were Israelites who thought Antiochus was, man, that guy's all right. I didn't want to go to the temple every Saturday anyway. I see them eating pork chops. I want me some pork chops. I have other things to do. Why do I have to go to the temple? There's a lot of people who do that today. They only want Yeshua when they need something. Or they only want to be around you if you can provide. There's a lot of people who do that today. They're rebellious against Yeshua's laws. They don't care about Yeshua's laws. They care about their filthy flesh. Psalms 119, 150, it says, they draw nigh that follow after mischief. They are far from thy law. Thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are true. So these people were practicing sin, and they were prospering in sin. But eventually, somebody got a little peeved. Let's read Daniel 8:13.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 13. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
So we know who said that.
God.
But this is a prophecy. Daniel was not around at this time. Daniel was long dead when Antiochus Epiphanes came. In fact, Daniel was long dead when the Greeks were taken over. He was gone. How did he know all this? When you get a prophetic message, and it's a warning, and you don't take heed to that prophetic message, which is a warning, all kinds of bad stuff is going to happen. Daniel said this hundreds of years before the Greeks were even in power. At the time Daniel was speaking this, the Persians had just took power. The Persians, they just took power when Daniel was giving this wonderful prophecy. And did Israel pay attention? Nope. Did Israel take heed? Nope. Did they listen? Nope. Did they even go back to the book of Daniel and read? No. And we know that because of the fact on what happened during all this taking back of the temple. Oh, they found something. A little too late. This is the problem with Israel. You get these messages of prophecy and you don't take heed to them. And when stuff starts to happen, all of a sudden you want to go into panic mode when it all could have been prevented. That's the problem with Israel today. You know what? That's the problem with that's the problem with the world today. You better get it right. So let's see the transgression. First Maccabees chapter 1, verses 37 and 38. Because Daniel did mention the transgression of desolation. So let's see that. First Maccabees 1, 37 and 38.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 37. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it.
Killing people in the sanctuary. That's not good. Next verse.
And so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her.
Yep. So that what that is saying is that the people who wanted to continue to operate up the temple, they fled Jerusalem. Those Israelites who wanted to stay, they stayed. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about all of Israel fled Jerusalem and then a whole bunch of strangers came in. No, when you're not serving Yeshua how you're supposed to serve Yeshua, you are a stranger to Yeshua. I don't care if you are, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments, if you're not following this holy day and doing what he says on this holy day, if you're not following the feast days, not necessarily dedication, but you're not following the feast days, if you're not serving the Lord thy God, you are a stranger to him. And I love it how people just continually pray to him, and you're a stranger to him. He's not listening to those prayers. A lot of you that are on YouTube right now, you're not serving the Lord thy God the proper way. You had the chance and you blew it. You are a stranger to him until you get your mind and your heart right with the Lord. And those of you who are sitting here who think you are safe, you're not safe. Because if you're not doing what he says by following his law, statutes, and commandments, you are strangers also. Doesn't matter that you're sitting here in all white with all 12 of your Hebrew names. You're glittering and all that. All that don't matter. It doesn't. You're still a stranger to him if you do not love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love thy neighbor as thyself.
That's right.
If you're not doing that, you're a stranger to him. So we need to not be strangers of the Lord, because we have a lesson coming up about just that topic. Let's go back to Daniel. Daniel 8 and 14. And like I said earlier, you know, you can listen to whatever you want. I'm not telling you not to listen to things, but understand something. All songs have meaning, no matter who wrote it. And if there's something that's incorrect in a song, then you continue to listen and sing to the song, then you're in covenant with it. So you got to be mindful of things like that. Read Daniel 8 and 14.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
2,300 days. That's a very long time. The sanctuary will be cleansed. So we already know that Matthias is not around for that. We already know that. We already know that half of the Maccabees are going to be killed. We already know that. Let's go over to Daniel chapter 8, verse 31. And let's read that.
Daniel 8?
Daniel 11:31. Yeah, I said 8 before. Daniel 11 and 31.
Daniel chapter 11, verse 31.
Mm-hmm.
An arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
The sanctuary is going to be clear. They shall stand on Antiochus' part, and the Greeks will pollute Yeshua's sanctuary, and try to end Yeshua's laws, sacrifice pigs on the altar, make all that fear Yeshua be free from the land. Get those Israelites who want to serve that God out of here. They were a problem for me. They were so holy. They tell me I had to wear fringes. They tell me that I had to abstain from eating certain foods. They tell me that I had to serve on the Sabbath day. They tell me all these things that I have to do, and I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. Why just don't they leave me alone? Why don't they just leave me alone so I can do whatever I want to do? So Antiochus was an epiphany to them when he showed up. Those who want to rebel against the Lord. Antiochus might as well call his name Antiochus Epiphanes from the very beginning. To those Israelites, or those heathens, because they're not Israelites. Let's go back to Daniel. Let's read Daniel 11 and 32.
Verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
Who are those people that are going to do exploits? And such do wickedly against the covenant. We already talked about them. He shall corrupt with flatteries. We know who the he is. But those people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Daniel told you, people that don't know Yeshua, people that do know Yeshua, they become like Matthias. And that's why a lot of people don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Because it's in their DNA. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear those things. What? I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this, that, and the other. What? I have to do this on Saturday. What?
Well,
I have to do this Friday night. What? No. But you being Matthias saying yes, yes, yes. You continue to say yes. You're Matthias. They're the other ones.
so we just dealt with something like that this week. And the person blamed their sin on us. This person is messing around with someone who knows the truth, but still goes to the Christian church, still celebrate these holidays because they have grandchildren and all that, and they're not willing to give it up. And we're saying that that person know better, they need to stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna take and this and that.
It's going to take some time.
And always pushing people. That's why I went back into sin. Because y'all was pushing me. They went so far as blaming us
Yeah, we get
for
the
their
blame.
sin.
Yeah, we get the blame for a lot of things. But you know what?
I used to get upset. I just laughed that off because I know better now. We blaming me for what you're saying. You did what you wanted to do. And you're just making up excuses. You don't want to leave that person. So you're making excuses. And then you tell me you would trust. Believe me, I'm not going to sacrifice. You're already
sacrificing. But that's what the heathen do. The heathen don't know. Judas and his people, Matthias and his people believed in the God of Israel, the true God. And they wanted to get a rededication of the temple to honor Yeshua. After 63 BC, the Romans took over the Maccabean rulers, and Israel hoped that the promise of Mashiach would be coming. Rome really didn't desecrate the temple until later. A lot later. Let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 2, reading verses 19 through 30. Are we going to 30? Yes, we are. 19 to 30, and then we're going to go 42 to 47. Yeah, we are. Okay.
So my thing is this.
Yes.
Usually you have people read, they don't just get up and walk away.
Yeah, I don't know what's
So I
happening.
don't know what's going on. He's reading while he's getting up, walking away. This is important.
Right?
So it's not being treated as if it's important. If you're reading, you just can't get up and walk away and be gone. It's a ridiculous choice.
Yeah. Maccabees 2 and 19. Then Matthias answered all spake with a loud voice through all the nations that are under the king, dominion, obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of the fathers and give consent to his command. So Matthias answered, said, all through the nations, talking to all the people who obeyed Antiochus. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. So Matthias is standing up. Matthias is saying, we're not going to take this crap anymore. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's voice to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. So he's saying, we are not going to listen to this king anymore. We're not going to take this mess anymore. We're going to stand up and we're going to fight against this king. We're not going to listen to this. We're not going to allow him to put French swine in the temple. Verse 23 says, now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Hebrews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was admonished according to the king's command. So after all this talking, Matthias did, this fool came with his sacrifice.
This Israelite.
And there's a lot of fools out there.
Yeah.
Come with his sacrifice. All who say they are Israel are not Israel.
Yeah. Come on now, preach him.
So he's coming with his sacrifice. And 24 says, which things Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled.
Come on now.
Neither could he prepare to shew his anger according to the judgment. It's like Shia did. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So you want to sacrifice on my God's altar? I'm going to kill you on my God's altar.
Come on.
He didn't try to talk with him. He didn't try to, hey, brother, you know what you're doing wrong. No. I like what Matthias did. The Bible gives you enough warning. You don't read it. So this is what's going to happen. A lot of us don't do that. We sacrifice. We don't do what they did. And then we wonder why we're in the position that we're in. No. You don't want to serve the Lord thy God? You don't want to do that? You're dead to me. Just like in the good days. You're dead to me. 25. Also the king's commission who compelled men to sacrifice. He killed at that time. And the altar he pulled down. So you got the king's commissioner, somebody who's directing these pagan sacrifices. Let's take him out too. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of the Lord, like as Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salome. Verse 26. Who is that?
Zambri.
No, Phineas did unto Zambri. Who is that? Yes.
That's one of Aaron's sons. Or son's son. I just know he did a job when they gave the other Moabites, and one of the Israelites brought the Moabites into the tent. He takes up the job.
Is she right? Yes.
Where you read that at?
Let's go to number 16 and see if it's there.
Okay, not 16, it's numbers.
It's in Numbers 25.
I was thinking about the sons of God.
So yeah, that's who Phineas. It's Phineas. And that's who Phineas was. Phineas threw the javelin into Zambres and the woman. Right? So that's what that's talking about. He killed because they were transgressing the law of the Lord. Shia did the equal thing, did the same thing when he went through the temple. Same thing. Upholding the law of the Lord. If you come against somebody because they're not upholding the law of the Lord, There's nothing that Yeshua would do but smile down heavenly on you. Because you're acting in the operation of Matthias Maccabee. Gotta come against it, because if you don't, verse 27 says, and Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and establish the covenant, let him follow me.
All right.
And he had some followers because they were tired of that mess. And you killed 2 people right there in front of the altar. And you threw down the altar because the altar's no good no more. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Right? They left it. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. See, that's what we need to do. We need to seek after justice and judgment. Now, I'm not telling you to go kill people, because we're not at that time where you're going to kill people. Right? We're not at that time to do that. But you are at a time where you can come against them. They say something that's outlandish, and you sit there and you say, well, you know.
Like they using Ruth and Naomi as it's okay to be lesbians. Said she stayed with her, they were together, they were lovers. She dedicated her love to her.
Anything that somebody says that's against the Bible, if you just don't say nothing about it, you are in covenant with that mess.
She experienced that too.
Well, you see what's happening to him. Right? Verse 30 says, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increase sore upon them. Nothing wrong with having that Matthias Maccabee attitude when it comes to the Bible. A lot of people are not going to like you because you have that Matthias Maccabee attitude when it comes to the Bible.
That's okay.
You're not going to be popular.
Fine.
Look at the numbers on our channel.
That's right.
After 16 years, we don't even have 2,000 subscribers. 16 years on YouTube. We don't even have 2,000 subscribers.
We never had 100 views at one time.
We never had 100 people at one time. Never had 100 at one time. Maybe the highest may have been 50. Not even.
We never had that many people.
Why?
Live chat. The highest I did.
I don't know.
Was it even 15?
Oh no, we've had more than that. We've had one time, we had 70 on at one time.
No, people that had looked, I'm talking about that actually.
Oh no, I don't know. I guess not. Right? So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that we're going to bring forth the truth of the Bible no matter what. And yeah, I know. But it's all right. Because I'll never turn into an Elder Ricard. I'll never turn into a Bishop Nathaniel. I'll never turn into whatever that guy's name is. I'll never turn into that. Never, 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 never. First Maccabees, we're staying. No, we're not. Yes, we are. Let's skip down to verse 42. 42 to 47. Huh? 42. 42 to 47. When you're doing a teaching or a piece of dedication, we're talking about Maccabees. You don't say, well, let's go to First Maccabees chapter 2. Verse 42. We're going to read that. We'll talk about that conversation. No! We're going to be strong, just like Matthias Maccabee. Matthias Maccabee wasn't in front of the temple saying, "Hey, everybody." Those who want to follow the law and you want to keep it, you come with me if you want to. He didn't say that. He was zealous. He was yelling all over the place. He didn't say, "Me and my sons, we gonna walk that way because we gonna keep Father's laws, and we're not gonna forbid ordinance. We're not gonna do nothing. We're not gonna be bad people, but we don't really want to listen to the king. We really don't want to, We want to serve our God. We really don't want to, we don't like the words that's coming out your mouth and intelligence." If he would have said that, somebody would slap them in the face with baby powder on their hand. Big old pow. No. This is Maccabees. Right? We read with compassion, power, strength. Let's get it. 42.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
Who are these Assyrians? Somebody going once, going twice, going three times, going once, gone, told to man. Who are the Assyrians? Huh? Okay. Right. Because somebody should say, "Hey, question for the Assyrians." The Assyrians were followers of the Mosaic law.
Yeah.
And the Assyrians were men of grace. You could say that Matthias Maccabee and the Maccabees were Assyrians. Assyrians mean saints. Greek word for that is asadoiai, men endowed with grace. It's also in Psalms 39. Next verse.
Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor.
What's secure?
No.
No, support. Next.
Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altar.
They went round about, pulling down altars. Left and right. Now, you're not going to keep that crap around here.
All right, get ready. We're going down the street and tear down all
December 25th, that's out in the neighborhood. Go through their neighborhood and tear that stuff down. Jump up and pull down the lights.
Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
You just might be serious to that tree. The mob
I thought he was being serious, y'all. We all at it.
No, I'm not crazy for because the mob.
No,
You know,
the
there's
people,
more.
the mob of people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the people, yeah, they jingle bell, jingle. And he come with that white dress on, and you start sewing, and then the jingle bell. What is she doing? What is she doing?
Even an atheist hate you.
Right. NYPD ain't nothing to play with. Nothing to play with. And then they'll justify it. They'll call you one of those radical Israelites. Trying to cut down a tree. Persecute them. Throw them all in jail. Because where there's one, there's 1,000. That's like Cooper Raptors. One, there's 1,000 of them. Get them all.
Yeah, no. You ever seen a roach in your house? This one is more. You start searching. It came from that way, son. a whole can of spray.
Look at that. Look at what he's doing. Pulling down altars. His son's right there with him. Right? Next verse, 46.
And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly.
Went around cutting foreskins. They're going to make sure that these people under the cover. Matt?
They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand.
The work prospered in their hands. We read in Daniel about the work that needs to be done. What they did is they smoked sinful pagan Israel, smoked the altars, circumcised the children that they found uncircumcised, recovered the book of the law, and the Greeks took care of them too. This is what they did. Right? Let's go back to Daniel. Daniel 11. We're reading verses 33, 34. The exploits of the Maccabees should get you pumped up. Not you. Not you.
You said
You with a little, you don't know how to control it. 11, Daniel 11, 33, 34. Let's get it.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 33.
Mm-hmm.
And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days.
Yeah.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flattery.
That's what a lot of people do today. They cleave to you for flatteries. They're not really serving the Lord. They just cleave to you with flatteries. How you doing? How's it going? How's your life being treated? All these flatteries. They're not looking to serve the Lord. When Matthias died, Israel was given help with his son Judas, who became a hammer. Uzziah used Judas to cleanse the sanctuary. That was prophesied in Daniel 8 chapter. But these people that come around with flatteries, you got to be very mindful.
They want some friends.
Very mindful. But if you start speaking like a Maccabee, guaranteed they won't come around with flatteries no more. A lot of people who are part of this ministry start speaking Maccabee to them, they start to run and flee. Don't hear from them no more, which I could care less. Really. I could care less. Remember in Daniel 8, it said, he said unto me, unto 2,300 days shall be the sanctuary cleansed. Matthias died. Somebody rose up. Next Maccabee died. Somebody rose up. Next Maccabee died. Somebody rose up. The prophecy was going to happen. It just depends on which son of Matthias is going to do it. Let's go over to, let's read verse 35.
And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
Right, so we know Matthias died. We know Judas Maccabee fell in battle and died. Verse 36.
And the king shall do according to his will, And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every God, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
Antiochus is still, even with the start of the Maccabean revolt, Antiochus is still continue to do his will and magnify himself above every god. And that's when he took the name of Epiphanes, which means God on earth. And you still got that God on earth today called a Pope. It's still going on today. Now, with everything that we've read, did we read anything about oil being lit on an 8 or 7 branch menorah? No. Not one thing.
No.
That's man-made tradition. And a lot of Israelites follow that man-made tradition. 2 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 17 and 18. A later tradition of the Talmud suggests that during the rededication, there was only enough oil to light the menorah one day, but it burned for 8 days. That's in the Talmud. No, that's in the Talmud. So our brothers who sit there and they preach against the Talmud are actually doing things that the Talmud says to do. Okay, you gotta learn, you gotta understand this. It's gonna be taking all this stuff and not understanding what you're listening to or who is talking. 2 Maccabees 1:17, read that.
2 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed be our God in all things, who hath delivered up the ungodly.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, whereas we are now purposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 25th day of the month Keslu, we thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that ye also might keep it as the feast of the tabernacle and of the fire, which was given us when Nehemiah offered sacrifice after that he had builded the temple and the altar.
So we know verse 18, that's Nehemiah, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So this holy day signifies that we must now dedicate our temples to the service of Ahia, just like the Shire did. Let's stay in 2 Maccabees, go over to chapter 1, reading verses 23 to 33. We're going to end with the prayer of the Maccabees.
All right.
The prayer of Jonathan Maccabee, right? 2 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 23 to 33. Let's read that.
2 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
And the priest made a prayer whilst the sacrifice was consuming. I say, both the priests and all the rest, Jonathan beginning, and the rest answering thereunto, as Nehemiah did.
As Nehemiah did, that's Nehemiah, and that's the church was in Nehemiah, the 8th chapter. Next verse.
And the prayer was after this manner: O Lord, Lord God, creator of all things, who art fearful and strong, and righteous and merciful, and the only and gracious King.
Right, you start that prayer, oh Lord, Lord God. Just like that. Oh Lord, Lord God, creator of all things, who are fearful and strong. Right? Oh, can't handle the Maccabee, no. Righteousness and merciful. Okay, I'm not gonna tone it down. Verse 25.
The only giver of all things, the only just, almighty, and everlasting, thou that deliverest Israel from all trouble, and didst choose the fathers and sanctify them.
Look at that. All deliverance. You deliver all of Israel from trouble. Sanctify them. 26.
Receive the sacrifice for thy whole people, Israel, and preserve thine own portion and sanctify it.
Receive the sacrifice. Receive the sacrifice. Preserve thine own portion. Sanctify it.
Come on now.
Deuteronomy 6 says about his own portion. Sanctify it. 27.
Gather those together that are scattered from us. Deliver them that serve among the heathen. Look upon them that are despised and abhorred. And let the heathen know that thou art our God.
It doesn't matter. People look at you funny. People look at you. They don't like you. They tolerate you. You despise and abhor. But you are serving the Lord thy God.
That's right.
No matter what they look, say, feel, smell, doesn't matter.
Serving the Lord.
Punish them that oppress us. Right? Punish them.
Yes.
David said that. Paul, Peter, punish them that oppress us. And with pride do us wrong. Punish them all. Oh yeah. This is why the heathen don't want to be around you when you got a Maccabee attitude. They don't want to talk to you when you got a Maccabee attitude. They don't want to be around you when you got a Maccabee attitude. 29.
Plant thy people again in thy holy place, as Moses hath spoken.
Plant thy people in thy holy place. Just like Moses said. 30.
And the priests sung songs of thanksgiving.
Yes.
Now when the sacrifice was consumed, Nehemiah commanded the water that was left to be poured on the great stone.
Remember that? Next verse.
When this was done, there was kindled a flame, but it was consumed by the light that shined from the altar.
Remember that? 33.
So when this matter was known, it was told the king of Persia that in the place where the priests that were led away had hid the fire, there appeared water, and that Nehemiah had purified the sacrifices therewith.
Praise God. There's something to these doctrines from these Israelites. Study to show thyself approved. Yes?
So, in addition to the Talmud, is it justified following like the other camps?
In addition to the Talmud,
Yeah, because
well, the camps don't know that the camps. I'm just going to say that what I believe. I believe that they may not know that it's from the Talmud. They just see the lights and they come up with that story about a menorah, which.
And where they getting that from?
The menorah they get from
We have read nothing like that in the Bible.
We're not going to read it in the Bible or the Apocrypha.
So where they getting that from?
What happened is that
It's
it was identified in the Talmud and the Gemara, and it's like you said, word of mouth.
Just like they saying women should have their head covered while praying.
Right.
That's not in scripture.
No.
The scripture doesn't tell us to cover our hair with a scarf.
Scripture doesn't say that anybody covers their head. If they do, it's an option for women. Men, we don't have a choice. We cannot have our hair covered.
But how the covering of the hair came is slavery.
Right. Because they don't want to see the women naked head.
You worked in the house. You was a servant, a slave in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You had to cover your hair.
You had to cover your head up.
But you can uncover it on Sundays when you was Sunday worship.
Right.
You have to cover it up then.
Right.
See how that goes, it's crazy.
Yeah, so, like I said, understand what it is that you are, listening to. Of course, you can ask questions. You can come to me if you got questions. So, I ain't going to that person. He act like that Matthias Maccabee all the time. No, 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 no. Alex is not. She's nice.
I am for a while.
You are for a while. You don't become, you don't stay nice stuff.
I am for a while.
Yeah. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you glory and praise. And we thank you for this Maccabee story, that you have put the strength in Matthias Maccabee to lead his sons and to revolt against that wretch Antiochus and to destroy all Greeks and all the temples that he defiled. And we raised the temple in your precious and holy name. Let us tear down the wretchedness of our own filthy temples and restore them up to the temples of the Lord, which is our bodies. Let us enjoy dedication. And let us understand what the dedication is truly about. It's about restoration and growth. Shine his name on. Amen. That's all I got. See, for those of you who sat there and probably was thinking, oh, we don't have 3-4 hours. That's next week. Not this week. I'm gracious enough to have a condensed lesson so that we can enjoy dedication. Next week's going to be record. All praises. All right. Any questions on dedication? Right, so that will be it. Join us live stream next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have another interesting individual to talk about. And live stream 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we got a doctrine lesson, and it's going to be on TV. Right?
Yashua.